new sponsor, Eve John from Boardroom 51, who is helping women get their first board role. So it's so aligned with what I love and want to see happen as well. But today I am incredibly excited. She's the Boss Live is all about shining a light on female founders and women who are doing extraordinary things in business. And I am absolutely delighted to have Lesley Jane Seymour from New Orleans join me today. Thank you so much for us, because Sunday night for you too. And let's talk about the CoveyClub and what else you're doing. So let's start off with you telling everybody what is the CoveyClub and why did you create it?
Well, the CoveyClub came out of desperation. What happens? I've been 35, 40 years in the magazine business, running various publications. Marie Claire is one you'd know in Australia.
I love that magazine.
Yeah, so did I. It was my favorite magazine. I know. Don't even go there. It's so depressing. I also ran Redbook. I ran a teen book called YM, and then I ran a book here called More. I don't think you guys didn't have More. No. More was focused on women 40 plus. And when they closed it in April of 2016, I had to figure out what I was going to do next. And the publishing business was just circling the drain. And I mean, there was no point. I could have gone off and run another magazine, but it was just too depressing. I said, I'll be back here again in two years being depressed.
And you weren't wanting to go online and start a digital magazine?
Well, that was the idea. So Covey was supposed to be a digital magazine. But surprise, surprise. It's what everybody said. Nobody will pay for a digital magazine, but I had to prove it to myself. I did it for like 3 months, and I did my studies, and I paid the same amount. This was all out of my severance pay when I left the magazine. And I discovered very quickly that it was not going to, it was costing me like $12,000 a week because I was making an original product. I was paying what Vogue would pay. I didn't know what I was doing. You have to understand, Jules, I was a corporate cog. I'd, gone out.
I completely understand. And also that you think, well,
but I did not know how to run a business. And I quickly figured out, I did a little study. I had 100 people looking at this for me, and they were like, we love it. It's for us. It's great. And I said, how much would you pay for it? They said $2. And I was like, $2? I'm going to be out of business in 5 minutes. So that's when I had to lean into the club part of it. I always knew it would be a club of some sort. I just said, Covey is a small group of birds. I wanted something that was small and cozy and all that. I originally wanted to call it, you know what a small group of crows is called?
The Murder of Crows, isn't it?
I wanted to call it the Murder Club. But my friends like you who are in PR and on the other side, they was like, no, we'll never support you. You won't get an ad. You won't get and I was like, oh, but wouldn't that be funny? Or how about bitches and badasses? And they were like, no, you can't use that either.
I have to tell you that at She's the Boss, we've started a magazine, a digital magazine, which clearly we're not charging for. But we're using our members to do the content, and we've called it Maggie, which is short for magazine.
Cute. I like that.
You like that?
You're not getting in trouble. I was going to get in trouble. And so literally it was 627 of my readers of More magazine who were really pissed off when the magazine went out. Took a 54-question survey to the end. And I literally built CoveyClub off of what they said it should be. And so it was the idea of, I mean, when you think about a magazine, is a flat community, right? It's a flat community. I mean, you would put Vogue on your table, or you would put Marie Claire on your table, and somebody would walk in and they go, I know about you. I know who you are. I know your values. I know what you're interested in. So it always had that aspect, but it didn't have this live aspect. And so I thought, okay, well, here we are in the digital age. Why don't we take the idea of a magazine and make it live? All the things that we used to do, which was, teaching women how to reinvent themselves, teaching women we do things about getting on a board, leadership skills, all kinds of reinventions of their lives, how to deal with menopause, how to deal with family situations, elder care, older kids, empty nest. Why can't we make that live? And so that's basically what we did, is we leaned into it. And we have this fabulous collection of women who come together and they support each other. They're all incredibly accomplish. That's what's so wonderful about women.
Are they business women, or it's just any woman over 45? No,
it's anybody, but we tend to collect. It's basically women who've been in business for a long time, and they're trying to. Basically, we're at that point where trying to help women through the sort of changes of midlife. You're going to have something. You're going to be laid off from a job. You're going to have a health issue, widowhood, divorce, empty nest. You could be, dealing with elder care. Who knows what it is, but it's not a straight shot, right? And so a lot of women are sort of stymied when they get to this point and they say, what else is there for me?
Yeah.
And here in the US, we're also dealing with a lot of women in their 50s who are being pushed out of corporate and they can't get back in, right? And they're
going, I'm not ready to retire. I want to do something that actually means something in the world.
Correct. And they still need to earn money. It's not like they can stop. They've got 15 more, 16, 20 years of earnings still in them. And so we're there to help them figure out what that is. And what we've learned is that working in a group with strangers, this sounds so crazy. And I didn't really know this would happen, but as you learn, as you go, working with strangers to get this stuff done is really, really fast track. That's what's strange. Working with your friends is not going to get you there as fast as working with other people who are already accomplished in all these things, like you. We have people who do PR, people who make websites, people who do, and everybody brings their expertise together. And whatever questions you have, it's when I started out, Jules, my big problem was I didn't even know what mail server to use. And I didn't have any friends who were entrepreneurs. And I literally,
that's a huge learning curve.
Oh my God. It was 3 weeks of examining all the things out there.
I need an IT department. I need somebody to
and there's no IT, right? So now what you do is you go into the app and use, somebody who's leaving corporate and is trying to start their own thing. All they have to do is say which mail server to use. They get 3 answers, 4 answers. Go do it. That's it. So I didn't want people to have to do what I did. I really had to start from scratch 7 years ago. I didn't know anybody my age. I knew 20-year-olds, but they were like, oh, go look it up on YouTube, but YouTube is not the best thing for people like us.
But also I think if you're a reader, and I am, and I read very fast, video's too slow. I just am like, come on, if I could just scan it on a bit of paper, it would be faster and I could be more selective. So I guess that, and the younger people are all about video. They're not interested.
Well, my big problem is with the video, which I love, is they go like this. They go, and now you push the button up here. Now change that. Now do this other button here. Now do this. And you're like, what button? I can't even see the button. Where's the button? How do I enlarge to see the button? It's like, it just doesn't work. We weren't programmed that way, right? So,
and there's a great article that I found in Forbes. I don't know whether it was the American version or the Australian version, called "The Power of the Pack." Have you read that about women?
No, Pack.
Oh, you've got to go and read it. And basically, there is research that's come out of Harvard Business Review that says that as long as men have got a support network, it doesn't matter what the gender is, they will succeed. For women, it makes a massive difference for them to have women in their support network, because it just speeds up everything and makes them more successful, which makes sense to me, because you do want other people that kind of are experiencing the same challenges and issues that we are. So I love it that you've created these groups. So are there lots of little local groups? Is it all online? How does it all work?
It's all online. It's all online. What we have is groups online. It's actually international. We have a bunch of people from Europe as well.
Okay.
It's totally, people come together. We teach twice a week. We bring in experts like you to teach everything from how to get on a board, leadership skills. We have doctors come talk about menopause, all those kinds of things.
Yeah, great.
And then we do all kinds of crazy stuff. We do speed networking so that you can actually get to know people. We have what we call as our academy, which is about 400 of the recorded classes that are already banked with experts from around the world. So if you want to start learning how to make a website for yourself tomorrow, or how to do your personal branding, you can just pop in there and start working right away.
Right.
And we also meet live. We have various live events. We do single days in various cities, and then we also do retreats, and now we're doing travel. We had our first group go to the Basque region in Spain and France, which was really
my God. So when did you do that, and how was that?
That was in June, 8 days in June. Fabulous. We have a trip to Italy coming up in April we're really excited about.
And what sort of size groups are you taking over there?
Those are about 12 people.
Oh, yeah, and I think that's nice. I kind of decided with mine that I'm never going to do more than about 10 or 12.
No. You don't want it to be.
It changes the dynamic completely.
Yeah. You want to really know everybody, and you want to be able to sort of move things around depending on how people feel, and also you want to be able to get to know each other. At the core of CoveyClub, one of the things is really getting to know people and really connecting. That's one of the things that makes us different. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted it to be small and why I called it Covey, is there's so many big giant conferences out there where you can go and you can sit at a big table, a football field away from the actual stage. You see somebody, you hand them your card, and you never hear from them again. That's not who we are. It's really about connections. It's really about getting to know each other. And it's kind of amazing. Like, it's just shocking how people can come together, share a time of life, and
I absolutely agree.
Work together. And we also have a new thing, which is called the Marketplace, where you can join as a Marketplace member. And what we do is we feature what you do through all of the CoveyClub system. And you also give a special discount to the CoveyClub people, the members themselves. But we push you out there because everybody's doing business with each other. I hired my marketing person from somebody who joined the club.
Yeah.
Everybody is doing that.
Yeah. And I mean, She's the Boss was set up almost exclusively. Well, it was exclusively online. And one of the things that I found really interesting, and I wrote an article about it that they covered in a business media here, but was how being online is the great equalizer. All of a sudden, we don't care what you're wearing, what your car is. We don't care if you're disabled, if you're fat, if you're thin, if you're old, if you're young. We can only see what's on the screen. And the deep friendships that can come out of it, I think, it certainly startled me at first, because in fact, one of our members is getting married in a couple of weeks, and I realized she's invited half the group. And it is purely because we did Prosecco tasting online, and we did all sorts of things like that together, and we all became really close friends.
Yeah. And that's, I'm an Uber extrovert. So
I'm an Uber driver. I was going to go, what? Okay, yeah, you're an expert.
But one of the fascinating things is there are a lot of people who have trouble with Zoom and digital, getting to know other people. They find it wearying and all that. I actually find it really fabulous. I totally, like you, I feel like I mean, there are members in my club who I've yet to meet in person, and we've known each other for years.
Yeah.
And, the hilarious part is,
when you do meet them, you go, hang on a minute, you're much taller or much shorter than I thought you'd be.
It's always, you know what it is? We always find everybody's shorter than we thought.
Yeah.
Everybody looks bigger here, right? That was really, really what's funny.
Yeah, no, I really enjoy that. Wow, it sounds great. So now my next question is just around what sort of services, but I feel like we've sort of covered that. So I want to jump straight into you telling me some stories. Do you want to tell me about some of your members and what work being in the club has done for them? Or
goodness,
give me a couple of juicy stories.
Oh my goodness, there's one woman. Her name is Sheila Sariri, and wonderful person. Joined a couple years ago. She was getting a divorce. Her kid was leaving for college. She lived in New Jersey. Nice house, nice area.
Yeah.
But she felt that the people around her, they were nice friends, but they really didn't understand what she was going through. Anyway, so she came into the club. She was working a little bit on garden design. Yeah. And we started working with her and connecting her to people who do various activities like that.
Yeah.
And then at one point, she met up with a woman who is an artist who's named Jane Pollock. Jane she makes these incredible, this crazy stuff, designer pillows that are sold for $2,000 each. She's like a high-end pillow maker. You can't believe
but
this.
Why are they $2,000? I mean, are they, does she stitch the
They're
fabric
like designer level handmade things that people put into designer households. Okay. So she and Jane connect, and Jane starts coaching her because she had started a little pottery business. She wanted to do pottery. She got into pottery. Right. Anyway, so Jane sends her to what's called the D&D building, the design building in New York City, and tells her, you've got to go up there, see what other people are doing. Anyway, while she's there, she meets this guy who's like, she goes into one of the showrooms. I mean, the design building is like, you know, the biggest names in design. Yeah. There's one guy there. She meets the showroom person, and she said, oh, I'd really like to talk to him. He does stuff like I'm doing. Could we have a talk? And she said, you know, it's funny. We're just about, he's retiring, and he's looking to give somebody his secret sauce, which are these slips, which are the, you know, the coatings that go on the outside of the pottery. Yeah. And so she connects with this guy. They become great friends. He gives her all this insider stuff. She now has this business. Jane's been coaching her on how to photograph her stuff. She's a business on Etsy now. That she would never. Oh my God. I mean, crazy, crazy, crazy stuff like that.
That also is, you know, speaks to the idea that people follow their passion and what they love.
Oh, totally.
And then you have a mentoring group, because it's all well and good, as you say, to be a magazine editor or someone in PR doesn't make you a great business person. So surrounding yourself with other experts that are good at the finance and the strategy and the, you know, marketing, whatever, just makes such a huge difference. But I feel for all those women that have just been employed for years, and I'm sure you were one of them, who never thought, wow, I could be doing something like I really, really love, and nobody pushing me around and telling me what to do.
I did love magazines, though. Magazines really were, I love CoveyClub, but I won't say that, you know, if magazines had continued, I would have continued to do them. They were really.
Hopefully they will pop up in some other form, because
it really was.
If I could show you, crazy. I've got a pile, and I'm 5'9". I've got a pile taller than me of Vanity Fairs I've been collecting since 1982 or something. Yeah. So, I mean, I've always loved magazines too, and I understand completely. And I worked in newspapers, but you know, times are changing. And I love that idea that you talk about, sort of making what's flat media into 3D media. That's clever.
I mean, we're doing the same thing. I mean, Jules, this is exactly the same thing that I used to do when I was running a magazine, except I don't have a multi-million-dollar budget or 55 people working for me. You know, I'm missing two major things. But basically, it's the same information. It's finding the best information. I'm a really good researcher. I find great writers. I can find stuff that other people don't find. What's really what I've always done, what I kind of made my name on, was telling the truth about things that other people don't say or won't talk about.
Oh my God, I love you already.
Well, because you know what? What's the point? We have to.
Exactly. Why do we have to hide things?
So, like, for instance, we get some really fabulous writers at the CoveyClub blog, which is CoveyClub.com. Yeah. So you can go there, you can find anything you want about midlife, about empty nest, about menopause, about reinvention. And for example, a friend of mine who's a really good writer was telling me about her mother who had Alzheimer's, who was driving her crazy and running her around and making her crazy. And I said, would you like to write about that? Because I know everybody's saying, oh, you know, I'm going to be a good daughter. So it's so easy taking it. Bullshit. It's not at all. And she wrote this piece. She had to do it anonymously because she wanted to tell the truth. And it's the best piece on the site. It's called "When a Good Daughter Hates Caring for Her Aging Mother." Yeah. And, you know, there are people on there condemning her to, you know, to hell because she's saying bad things about her mother. And then there are other people on there. I've had to put the suicide prevention number on there a number of times. People coming on saying, I can't believe somebody else is finally saying this. This is my life. My mother's making me crazy. I have no one to talk to. It's awful. I have no support system. I mean, it is, you know, it's the truth. The truth is, it's not, you know, this is not cupcakes and, you know, maple syrup. It's a
hard graft, and it's heartbreaking at the same time. And yes, it sounds amazing. And I love it that you're putting out those kind of stories. Can you tell me any other that have sort of,
Oh, yeah. I mean, and then we do, those summer reading lists, and we have a really good piece right now.
No, but what other controversial ones have you done? I've interviewed. I did
I mean, that's the really most controversial one. We'll do, I'm trying to think of what other stuff. We'll talk about the truth about hormones and whether you should be taking them or not. We don't take a side. We take the science side. And we also believe that it's up to you, that every woman's going to do her own thing and every woman's going to find her own direction. There isn't one direction for one person. And we don't preach and we don't judge. And we have a lot of great writers who come in and talk about their issues. The other stuff, for instance, we'll talk very frankly about grief. One of the things that we do, we create these little things called pods where women gather. This is about 3 times a year, where women gather over, groupings. It can be anything from elder care, podcasting, writing,
right. So quite diverse.
And they work together on those things. They work, we set them up, we give them best practices. It runs for 12 weeks and they work very intensely on whatever that area is. And we see incredible growth. Some of those groups have been going on for years. They're supposed to break up after 12 weeks. I can't get them to break up. So when I have another
bond again that you get,
when I have another round, I own the company and I have to go to the people running the pods and going, I've got one writer. Could I add one writer to the pod? They're like, I don't know. Let me ask the group. Like, okay, what are we going to do? Right.
I love that. So what's your big, hairy, audacious goal? Where do you want to see CoveyClub go to?
So we want it to get bigger. We want more people. What we find is that the more the merrier. It actually really is fun. We want to do more that's live. This year, we're going to do another live day. We do a big retreat here in New Orleans. But we're going to.
God, do you? Maybe I'll have to come over for it.
Oh God, Jules would love it. You would love it. We're not going to do New Orleans this year. We did 3 in a row, and people are like, I can't keep coming to New Orleans, which is a fun place to come.
I know people say that to me about my events, and I'm like, why
not?
We'll
do it again. You got to do it. But anyway, but yes, you should come. And we're going to do this year. We're going to do New York as one day, and then we're looking at possibly doing California, because I have a lot of people in California. Like Australia, it's so big that it is hard to tend to both sides because of the time zone. So we're going to try to do a little bit of a retreat out there. And then I have a big group, believe it or not, in Texas also.
That's so weird. I actually I've partnered with a woman called Linda Fisk, who runs a big group in Texas called Lead Her Ship Global. And we do international networking with our US friends. Well, maybe we should get your group in as well. But the US
that sounds so interesting.
And the Australian women, because everyone wants to be on podcasts, everybody wants to have connections. And I'm always saying to the women, you've got to think big. Stop thinking about, I want a local little side hustle. Think, why couldn't you go global? And to go global, you're going to need those contacts.
Yes. And that's the interesting thing. This year for me was the year to say, it's really very funny. I got a business advisor this year. And the first thing he's like an old guy from Harvard, all that stuff. My girlfriend said, talk to him, because I never started out with CoveyClub was not a business. It was an idea, right?
Yeah.
And so the first thing he says to me, because we were making money from day one, it's always covered itself.
Yeah.
But it's never gotten to the point where I can hire people, whatever. And so my goal this year is to actually scale and hire some people, because it's really fun in the beginning to get your own coffee cups.
I hear you.
I'm kind of over it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so the first thing he says to me is, he says, so what made you think that there was money over here? And I looked at him and I was like, it's such a male thing to ask. I'm like, that never came up. That was not part of the program.
That's not why I did it, because women tend to run purpose-driven businesses. They're doing things because they want to see change happen. And I think statistically that's been proven in the number of women that have started their own businesses and their why, which is why I always like asking people, why are you doing? Because nearly always with women, it's because I want to see change happen in some area. So
and it can happen. I mean, you know, that's one of the things that I learned doing magazines is that you can change the world one woman at a time. And that is one of the most, and when you discover that power, it's absolutely an amazing thing. And when you can pass that along to other women, that's an amazing thing.
Yeah. And you actually see them go, oh, you know, like really I could make a difference, little old me, because they always kind of go, you know, I'm not special. And I'm like, I have worked with so many women where I've helped them write their bio and they've gone, that can't possibly be me. That person sounds amazing. And I'm like, yes, it is you. And people just don't realize. Oh my God. Well, look, we're running out of time. Let's let people know where it is that they can get in touch with you. And how they can join the CoveyClub and all that sort of thing.
So come visit us at CoveyClub.com, and you can scoot around on the site, find the join page if you want to come join us. Join the newsletter. It's free. That's starting point. You'll get access to everything we do. Dip in, take a class, take a challenge, take a pod, and then see if you like it, and then come join the club. We're also on social media. We're on LinkedIn. We're also on Instagram, all CoveyClub, COVEY Club. And it's a great group of women who've always got your back. And people are sometimes intimidated. You may find that as well. And the interesting thing is, I don't know about you, Jules, but I can tell from your personality, you're probably like me. I attract the nice people.
So do I. I don't even know how I do it, but
I worked with the Mean Girls. You know, I was at Vogue for 9 years. I worked with the Mean Girls. I can do it.
Right.
But I'm done with that.
Oh my God, that would be another great story. But
I get stories. Well, those are stories I got. But you know, that's what I really. It's funny.
But it's also, I think, working with women, and for me, it's sort of over 45, 50 is my sweet spot because I'm nearly 60. And I'm like, I want to be around women that are honest, that are authentic, that aren't trying to be something or hiding behind a facade that makes it difficult for them to be themselves. And in my Bali retreat, I suddenly looked around and realized out of the 9 women I'd brought with me, 7 of them came from the country. And I was like, there's something about the country girls. They're really honest and straightforward. It was just an interesting moment. Lesley, if just on the last thing, if anyone wants to get hold of you, are they best to do that through CoveyClub? Because they may want you on their podcast now that they've seen you online.
No. And I also have a podcast, which is called Reinvent Yourself with Lesley Jane Seymour. If anybody out there is a big reinventor, I'm always looking for people who, you know, they were cheesemakers and they became a pilot. You know, we're always looking for those great stories of, you know, you can do it kind of stuff. But you can also reach me at LESLEY at CoveyClub.com, COVEY club.com.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed this. I can keep talking
down under.
I'm just going to say thank you to everyone for listening. A huge thank you to Eve John, who is our new sponsor from Boardroom 51. And if you are a woman who would like to be on a board, then she is absolutely where you should start. She specializes in helping women win their first board position, and she's very good on all the governance and stuff that's involved. Please also check out she'sthebossgroup.com, where we have events. In fact, we've got a stack of events coming up all around Australia and online. Connect with me on LinkedIn or Facebook, or join the She's the Boss Facebook group, which is one of our sweet spots. We've got a lot of women chatting in there. I'm also a coach teaching women how to become a woman of influence, and I'm a mentor and advisor. And last but not least, I recently started the Australian Women Speakers groups on Facebook and LinkedIn, and we've just started a directory at womenspeakers.com.au. So if you're running an event, definitely get a woman up on that stage. And if you need to find one, then we've got a whole lot of them in our directory. Thank you again, Lesley. What a fabulous way. Monday morning for me. Great way.
Oh, good. Sunday night.